the story of the Island Corridor Foundation. So what happened was there was CP Rail wanted to leave Vancouver Island. And not only did they want to leave Vancouver Island, they wanted to parcel up the land of the railway and sell it. And of course this concerned a lot of people on Vancouver Island and wanted to stop that. Number one, we got to keep rail on Vancouver Island. Number two, we need to have this corridor that connects all the communities up and down the island, because once that's gone, we will never ever be able to achieve that again. So there were a lot of people at the very beginning, and the Cowichan Tribes was one of them, that decided that we're going to save. We have to save the corridor. And that began the story of how regional districts and First Nations came together to save the railway. And what this consisted of 290 kilometers of railway from Victoria to Courtenay and Parksville into Port Alberni. And CP Rail owned from Victoria to Courtenay, and Rail America owned from Parksville into Port Alberni. And so this, what we endeavored to do was to give the railways enough incentive to donate the land to us, because we couldn't afford to buy it. And so that's what we ended up doing. It took us a lot of years, a lot of twisting of arms, but we finally got CP Rail and Rail America to donate this valuable piece of property. Oops, I keep on pushing the wrong one. Which also includes all the railways along the railway at Duncan, Nanaimo, Qualicum, Courtenay, and there's stations in Parksville and Ladysmith and there's some really wonderful stories about the Nanaimo train station. If I have any time, I'll tell you that story. And so this property is worth, in 2006, when it was transferred to us, $360 million. And that was a major feat for us. And what we did is we came together and we formed a foundation called the Island Corridor Foundation. And the foundation owns the property and trust for every one of you in this room, for every person in Vancouver Island. This is our property. It isn't the Island Corridors, it's everybody's. It's just held in trust, and it's run by a board of the regional districts, and the First Nations. And so we came together and we celebrated. This is the day we celebrated when we finally had the land given back to us. This is Jack Peak, who was one of the original co-chairs of the Island Corridor Foundation. And we wanted to support an integrated train system. We want to, and this is a goal we've talked about tonight, somehow connect bus and ferry and train, because if you come into town in the ferry, you have to come all the way into town to get a bus. It's not very connected, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to use bicycle paths and walking paths, and if any of you have been coming to our Ride the Rail series, we had one in Nanaimo last week, and we had an incredible presentation of all of the different regional districts and what they're doing in making trails along the Island Corridor Foundation. It's no longer the INN. We've been trying to promote that. So we want to preserve the environment. We want to develop our economy, create safe, green, efficient transportation for our families, and build a gateway, because we think this is going to really help. So one of the main economics of this railway is freight. And we need to create freight because that's what pays the bills. And of course, passenger and commuter rail. And along that line, we can stimulate growth, we can stimulate businesses. So we're trying to reduce greenhouse gases to fight global warming. And if we had a commuter rail from Langford to Victoria, this would remove the equivalent of 280,000 passenger vehicle trips per year and result in almost 700 fewer cars per day on the road. So trying to alleviate that gridlock. Right now, our rail partner, Southern Vancouver Island, who came in and took over the operations, has already reduced the number of large trailer trucks by 2,900. And with the proposed upgrades that we're looking to do, this could almost rise to 18,000 trucks per year that we take off the road. And how many of you get stuck behind those big trucks? You know, and a lot of those trucks are what causes the big accidents. There was a big one in Port Alberni and all the logs fell off, and that was shut down the road and highways for hours. And you know, it's amazing when you look at the kind of figures that we do. If we shifted from 3% from road to railway transportation, that's a 10% decrease in greenhouse gas emissions. That's a small amount for a big reduction. And although they account for 65% of surface freight, railways produce only 3% of greenhouse gas emissions. And if you get into some of these wonderful light trains that we're talking about, you know, and that's what we have in mind in the future, we can do even better. And freight trains create only 1/5 of the greenhouse gas emissions of trucking. And short line railways like ours originate almost 24% of freight carloads in Canada. Without them, Canada's greenhouse gas emissions from domestic trucking would be 100% higher. There's a proposed coal mine in Courtenay, and if it goes ahead, the issues around it is not, I don't want to get into that, but they want to truck coal from Courtenay to Port Alberni, or possibly to Nanaimo or Crofton. And can you imagine the number of trucks if they were able to put that on the rail and ship it in? We'd avoid, you know what those trucks do to our highways and the reduction. But anyway, whether you like coal or not, I mean, it's something that's in the works, and you know, I don't want to get into that. What we're trying to do is to do commuter rail from Langford in, and possibly even from Duncan. Let's try it. Let's see what we can do. Let's see how many cars we can get off the road. We don't want to expand the Island Highway. Can you imagine taking more of our greenery and our rocks and putting more lanes on that? We'd love to do tourism trains, Rocky Mountain, what do you call it?
Rocky Mountaineer.
Rocky Mountaineer. Those kind of trains, adventure trains, that's what people want to see. And you know, we can do those. We want the passenger trains running the right way up the island. Yeah. We know that's an issue, and we're working on it. We're hoping that's going to be a short-term thing. So this is a wonderful story, and I've had a lot of time. I give you a lot more details. Never before have regional districts and First Nations come together to work and to find solutions. You know, there's a lot of issues with First Nations about the ENN and the taking of our land, but it's a powerful tool. If you like us, get on our recorder.ca and sign up as a friend of the rail. We've been working on this. When we took over the rail line, we knew the infrastructure was not in good shape. CP Rail and Rail America didn't put any money into the infrastructure. So we know we need about $104 million, and we want to do that gradually. We're trying to seek $15 million this year, and just keep on adding so we can get the trains up to speed. We can get safety. Of course, we deal with safety, but you know, we need to do that in order to save the railway. If we can't do that, then we own a nice piece of land that we can all enjoy anyway. But it defeats the whole purpose of the railway. So, you know, it's exciting. You know, I just want to tell you a really quick story. Nanaimo train station burnt down, and we were given $1 million in insurance monies, but it's not enough to rebuild. And so the young professionals of Nanaimo took on the project, and they're raising $400,000 to complete the outside of the building. And they had a Wild West train ride. They brought over the Royal Hudson, was it the Royal Hudson? Yeah. And you know, they brought people from Nanaimo down to the Cowichan Center. They had a big dinner and an auction, and they raised a lot of money. But that's how much people believe in what's going on along the rail, in rail itself, in community. And it's exciting times and exciting opportunities. And you know, we need people to change their lifestyles. So we can get people riding their bikes to work. We can get people riding the rail to get to their meetings, to get to work, and just alleviate some of the gridlock. Thank you.